On behalf of the Chief Magistrate of the beautiful town of Lunenburg, His Worship Lawrence Mulwiney, I bid you welcome to the historic event of the relaunching of the Bluenose II. A source of great pride to the town of Lunenburg and Nova Scotia, Bluenose symbolizes our strong ties to the sea and our ingenuity and craftsmanship. In the year 1963, the original Bluenose was commemorated as Bluenose II. Like her namesake, she took sail from this harbor, lifting our spirits and the spirits of sailing enthusiasts all over the world. Today, we once again celebrate a proud moment for this historic town, Nova Scotia and Canada, as Bluenose II is relaunched after a major refit. We gratefully acknowledge all who made this special day possible. We thank the craftsmen and women who, with love and great care, brought this beautiful vessel back to us. And we thank the province of Nova Scotia for ensuring that Bluenose II will continue to share our rich heritage and proud maritime history with the world. Cried aloud this day, the 29th day of September, in the year of our Lord, 2012, God save the Bluenose, God save the town of Lunenburg, God save the Queen.
Thank you, Town Crier. Deputy Mayor John McGee. Mr. Premier, Minister McKay, representatives and employees of the Lunenburg Shipyard Alliance, members of Parliament, members of the Legislative Assembly, my municipal colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, she's back, and isn't she beautiful? My name is Lawrence Mulwiney, and I have the great honor of serving this beautiful historic town as mayor. And today I have the added honor of hosting this special ceremony marking a much anticipated day, the relaunch of Bluenose II. Let me begin by saying how wonderful it is to see so many of you here for this relaunch. Your presence here so early in this moist fall morning speaks of your deep affection for Bluenose II and your pride in this living legacy built in our town. Thank you for being here today. For those of you who have traveled from out of town or out of province, we are delighted that you are here with us to share in this special moment. Of course, we hope that you will stay as long as you possibly can. We may be small in size, but as a UNESCO World Heritage Site, we have plenty for you to see, taste, and experience. At the very least, we hope that you'll stay for all the fun, the family activities which have been planned throughout the day and into the evening to mark this wonderful occasion. There is a family barbecue and entertainment next to Zwicker Wharf from 11 until 12, a concert featuring some of our incredible local talent on the main stage on Bluenose Drive next to the Fisheries Museum from 1 until 4, followed by another concert at 7:30, again on the main stage that no one should miss. It includes a list of some of Atlantic Canada's best known and most loved singers and songwriters, including Lenny Gallant, Catherine McKinnon, Alan Doyle, John Gracie, to name but a few. So dress for the occasion and come down to the water for the event beside the museum, a fitting tribute to Bluenose II and a moving conclusion to what I believe will be a fabulous day. Before I introduce this morning's guest speakers, I want to assure you that the timing of today's relaunch ceremony wasn't decided by the town council or the organizing committee. This was an event dictated by Mother Nature. The launch time needed to coincide with the morning high tide. You should know and can already observe that Bluenose II will not be making a big dramatic entry into the water today. There is no big splash. Rather, as you can see, she is being gently eased into the harbor as prescribed by modern launching techniques. What we are witnessing here today is an historic moment, just as those who gathered on this harbor front almost a half-century ago still fondly remember Bluenose II's first launch. I'm sure all of you too will fondly recall this special day for many years to come. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my pleasure to invite forward to speak Mr. Peter Kinley, the president of Lunenburg Foundry and a member of the Lunenburg Shipyard Alliance, to say a few words. Mr. Kinley.
Thank you, Your Worship. Thank you, Your Worship. Mr. Premier, Mr. Minister, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, we are deeply honored today to welcome you to Lunenburg to personally view the relaunch of Bluenose II. We are grateful, indebted for the trust and support of the province of Nova Scotia and the government of Canada in carrying out this nationally significant project right here on Lunenburg's working waterfront. The three partners that make up the Lunenburg Shipyard Alliance, Covey Island Boat Works, Snyder Shipyard, and Lunenburg Foundry, all bid you welcome, bienvenue. I wish to also address the over 200 suppliers from across Nova Scotia and across the continent that have helped us to bring this together. We are pleased to have been selected to extend the life of Bluenose II so that the next generation of Canadian seafarers may raise her sails with dignity and safety. We wish to thank the workers, the carpenters, the shipwrights, the mechanics, welders, machinists, pipe fitters, electricians, and indeed the engineers involved in bringing this together. We know the integral part our town of Lunenburg has played in her legend as her birthplace, home, and savior. So it is natural and fitting that Bluenose II is being restored to her original glory and that it be done right here. In 1976, while I was studying mechanical engineering at Dalhousie University, I had the opportunity to sail on board Bluenose II as a crew member. I had the opportunity to hold her helm and personally witness the power of the wind propelling a 300-ton vessel at 16 knots across the ocean. It was the most inspiring situation that I'd ever come across. I vowed then that I would continue my studies in naval architecture and hopefully someday play a part to bring the technology forward for a new generation. So when you look at a picture of the Dime, most people look at the schooner in the middle. But if you widen your view, you can see a circle. And that circle represents the people that care for the boat. That circle represents this community, it represents our province, and it represents our nation. And indeed, all of you, by your presence here today, earn a place, a point on that circle. And we thank you all for your support and look forward to fair winds down the road. Thank you very much. Okay, this isn't in the script. We have the navigation table, and I would call upon Daryl Dexter and Peter McKay to come up and use a pen that has been used before by all the premiers to sign the forecastle table. We would like you to sign the back of the navigation table.
Thank you very much, Peter. I know that every member of your team and all of the talented craftsmen and women who worked to restore Bluenose II to our former glory poured their hearts and souls into the project, and that for all of you who have worked on this project, it was not just a job, it was a labor of love. And I know also that you deeply appreciated the coffee and donuts that you received one day a week from a very generous donor through the work project. Thank you, all of you. I'd now like to ask Mr. Gerald Keddy, the Member of Parliament for the South Shore, to offer a few words.
Thank you, Your Worship. What a great day to be in Lunenburg. Absolutely fantastic. Premier Dexter, Minister McKay, MLA Pam Birdsall, other MLAs and MPs in the audience, ladies and gentlemen, I am absolutely thrilled to be at the official launch here today of the Bluenose II. To say that the Bluenose means a lot to the people of this area would be an understatement. But there's one special guest that I do want to point out here today, and I'm going to ask him to stand up, and that's Mr. Charles Tanner, 92 years old, surviving crew member of the Bluenose I. Mr. Tanner, it was a thrill to shake your hand. The Bluenose is a part of us and indeed a part of our country, a part of our landscape, or should I say seascape, a cornerstone of our history and our heritage. Some would argue that it forms a very part of our identity. And as much as the Bluenose belongs to us, she belongs to the entire country. She holds a special place in the hearts of those in Nova Scotia. But in this internet age, I can tell you that this is not just a Nova Scotia story, not just a Canadian story, but this relaunch has been, without question, the most closely followed relaunch of any wooden vessel on the planet. And ladies and gentlemen, people from across Canada, people not only watch the Bluenose being relaunched and refitted, but they helped. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention Jennifer McSween in my office, who quarterbacked arranging for the different pieces of the wood for the forecastle table, including a piece of Douglas fir donated by Olympic skier Senator Nancy Green Rain, granite stone from Senator Patterson from Nunavut, and on until every province and every territory in Canada is represented in that table. And Premier, when you hosted the leaders of the provinces and the territories around that very table, you'd be interested in knowing that the ridge spruce, being Nova Scotia's tree, was brought by myself from my hometown of New Ross and was sawn in Eugene Elliott's sawmill in New Ross by a third-generation sawmill family. Those are just some of the reasons why so many of us have turned out today, both here and on video link, to witness the historic rebirth of our sailing ambassador, the Bluenose II. Everyone's support is instrumental in bringing us to where we are at this moment. I'm so very proud, as I know all of you are, of the superlative efforts of the Lunenburg Shipyard Alliance to restore this vessel to her former glory, to the local craftsmen whose workmanship is second to none, and to all the members of the Lunenburg Shipyard Alliance, thank you. Your careful, detailed, and thoughtful restoration typifies the world-class craftsmanship of which this area is so well known, and it does our province and indeed our country proud. When she plies the waters again less than a year from now, the Bluenose II will be the country's most famous sailing ambassador once more, drawing interest and admiration from Nova Scotians and visitors alike. Instantly recognizable, symbolizing the finest traditions of Bluenosers themselves, solid, reliable, consistent. This grand restoration is an important milestone in our history, an important development in our tourism industry, and I hope that we celebrate this historic occasion as the beginning of a very bright future indeed. To the Bluenose and the people who sail her, may she always have fair winds and a following sea. Merci. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Keddy. You may have noticed about 10 or 20 minutes ago that the divers slipped into the water and are working around the cradle to do the necessary things that are required below the surface so that Bluenose will sail free in about 15 or 20 minutes' time. It's now my pleasure to introduce a member of the Federal Cabinet from the province of Nova Scotia, just arrived from Washington, D.C., where he received yet another honor yesterday. And it's my distinct pleasure to introduce to you the member for Central Nova, the Honourable Peter MacKay, Minister of National Defence and Regional Minister for Nova Scotia, to invite him to bring remarks on behalf of the Government of Canada. Minister MacKay.
Well, thank you very much, Your Worship, Premier, Ms. Wilson, all of those who are gathered here from the provincial federal government, MLA Pam Birdsall, MLA Bailey, Mayor Down, and all of the honored guests, members of our military, police, fire services. How about a hand for our fire services band from Lunenburg? Veterans, family members, Reverend clergy, good morning, bon matin, guten Morgen, as you say here in Lunenburg. Welcome to this historic day, this relaunch of our most famous and beloved traveler, the Bluenose. Today, our government is proud to be joining our provincial counterparts to mark the historic return of Bluenose II to Nova Scotian waters. Bluenose II, as we all know, is such an important part of Nova Scotia and Canada's maritime history, a symbol of our past glory and prowess on the water, and a testament to the proud shipping excellence, the shipbuilding excellence and culture that has existed in our great province for centuries. I believe that today marks a significant milestone where our past, present, and future connect and is reflected in the preservation of this historic vessel. And one only need look around this beautiful town to see the progress and the work and the historic shipbuilding that continues to this very day. when the original Bluenose was built, and Mr. Tupper was there. When it was built in 1921, no one could have imagined the place and importance that it would hold in the archives of nautical history. And when Bluenose II was launched in 1963, it was not to replace the memory of the original vessel, but to honor and carry on the tradition of Nova Scotia's most famous fishing schooner. It perpetuates the pride in a new generation. This living history of new wood and sail will extend her life so that many generations can share in the history and find inspiration in the full sails of the Bluenose II. And it's that very reason that we're here today in beautiful Lunenburg, the real and spiritual home of Bluenose II, the port where she was built, serviced, and forever associates with her name. Bluenose II remains a Canadian icon, as Gerald has said, symbolizing Nova Scotia's prominence in the fishing and shipbuilding industries, and carries on our maritime heritage of hard work, perseverance, and always keeping an eye on the horizon for what lies ahead. Our government is proud to have invested close to $5 million, that's a lot of Bluenose dimes, through Canada's Economic Action Plan to complete this restoration. And we know that while there may be sometimes stormy seas ahead, our country has responded. We've worked together at all levels of government to identify important priorities, and we've invested in projects like the Bluenose II to keep people working and to keep our economy moving, to build on our region's history of innovation and excellence and embrace our culture and place in the country. And like the Atlantic economy, we know that this great ship will rise again. All told, our government is providing the largest infrastructure investment in Canadian history. And as we celebrate Bluenose II returning to the water today, I'm pleased to tell you that thanks to all our efforts, our country, our sound fiscal policies, the Canadian economy, like the Bluenose II, is very much first among its peers. Performing on the job front, growth among other countries, creating jobs, Canada's economy is sailing along. And we're proud of that record. We're also optimistic for the future, as I know Nova Scotians tend to be. And with our federal government's investment in shipbuilding here in this province and the Irving shipyard, like this shipyard, I know that our pride, our heritage in shipbuilding history will continue for decades to come. With that investment in federal ships, we know these ships will be built here and now. And I know that Nova Scotia shipbuilders, particularly here at the Lunenburg Shipyard Alliance, are perfectly placed to build the next generation of iconic ships. Our Nova Scotia shipbuilders, now as before, are building our economy and our future the old-fashioned way, with hard work and integrity and fortitude. Thank you, Lunenburg Shipyards. And with that, we know that the Bluenose will soon sail our beautiful coastlines and once again bring her history to the oceans and the peoples of the world. That's why our government's priority remains working with you, working with everyone to create jobs and prosperity for Canadians everywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate our past and look at the future, and as Bluenose II returns to the water, I'm certain this magnificent vessel will weather the headwinds and stay on course for many strong and stable, prosperous voyages, just like the Canadian economy. And I know that the preservation of this iconic schooner will provide tremendous benefits to Lunenburg, to Nova Scotia, and indeed all Canadians. It gives me great pride to be here with all of you as part of today's celebrations. And I didn't come on that, by the way, if you're thinking about it. I drove here early this morning. It gives me great pride to be here with all of you and to offer again my sincere congratulations to everyone and all of the many, many people who were involved in this restoration for many years, in fact. I thank you for your hard work and dedication. It was many hands, many hearts, and many minds that made this project possible. Keep in mind that there is still work to be done before the restoration is complete, but we're confident and we know that we will be seeing the Bluenose II resume her full sailing schedule very soon. Thank you again, Lunenburg. Thank you, everyone, for being here with us on this historic day. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you, Minister McKay. We are also delighted that you could be here today, not just to participate in the relaunch ceremony, but to witness firsthand how Lunenburg's working waterfront is helping to revive an industry that will not only bring economic benefits to our coastal communities, but further strengthen Nova Scotia's reputation for innovation, excellence, and craftsmanship. The federal participation is greatly appreciated. I will now invite Pam Birdsell, the MLA for Lunenburg and Ministerial Assistant for Communities, Culture and Heritage, to say a few words. Pam.
Have to adjust downward. There we are. Good morning, everyone. This is an absolutely wonderful day. I'm looking around and welcoming and having the honor to welcome thousands of people here to the waterfront in Lunenburg. It's wonderful to see so many people here. It's truly a proud day, not only for our community, but for Nova Scotians and Canadians. The Bluenose means so much to everyone. And on a day like this, my mom used to say, when it rains on a happy occasion, every raindrop is a blessing. So I'm taking that as a very good omen. It's fitting that we're here to have an opportunity to share this historic moment together. The Shipyard Alliance has worked hard to ensure that Bluenose II will be in great shape for many years to come. Long days and long nights have been put in, and I want to thank the Shipyard Alliance, their partners, and their families for all they've done above and beyond to restore the province's sailing ambassador. And even though they've been thanked many times, I'd like you to join me in thanking them one more time today. My speech is stuck together. I also want to thank the people of Lunenburg for your tremendous support over these past few months. Your amazing hospitality you've shown to visitors from around the world is second to none. It's no wonder that this community is known as the premier tourism destination. And now that the Bluenose is ready to be launched, or actually she's in the water, we have yet another avenue to share our rich ocean heritage with the world. She is a beautiful schooner, and I'm thrilled to be here. And I know once again she'll be Nova Scotia's sailing ambassador. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. I'd now like to ask Premier Darrell Dexter to come forward and bring greetings on behalf of the province of Nova Scotia. Premier Dexter.
Thank you very much, Mayor Mawhinney, Minister McKay, members of the legislature, members of the House of Commons, honored guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. In Nova Scotia, the Bluenose is more than just a photo on a license plate or an image on the dime. Ask any Nova Scotian and they will tell you that the Bluenose has a special place in our hearts. Nova Scotia's heritage is and always has been defined by the sea. The history of shipbuilding, fishing, and sailing is a big part of what makes Nova Scotia stand out in Canadian folklore. The excitement and anticipations leading up to today speaks of our love of the ocean and our ability to thrive by it. The triumphs of the original Bluenose were monumental. The schooner was so impressive that she was one of and is one of Canada's most recognizable icons. As an international racing and fishing champion in the 1920s and 1930s, she captured many victories and quickly became a symbol of success for all Canadians. Designed by William Ruy, the Bluenose was launched at this very place here in Lunenburg more than 90 years ago. She was as popular as she was beautiful. And that's why it was important to invest with our partners to restore the Bluenose II. Future generations of Nova Scotians will now know what it means to have the same pride as their parents, as their grandparents, and their great-grandparents before them. The Bluenose II was built in 1963 by the Olin Brewery. Less than a decade later, the Olin family, representatives of who are with us today, generously sold the Bluenose II to the province for the grand sum of $1, appropriately paid in 10 dimes. Since then, a great deal of work has taken place to maintain the schooner, but nothing has compared to the magnitude of this restoration. We must remember that the schooner that sits behind me is the one that has been here for decades. It is the schooner that has proudly represented Nova Scotia and Canada to the world. And thanks to the excellent work of the Lunenburg Shipbuilders Alliance, the Bluenose II will continue to grace her home port of Lunenburg and visit other communities as Nova Scotia's sailing ambassador for many years to come. On behalf of all Nova Scotians, I extend my appreciation to everyone who worked so hard to make this day possible. The Government of Canada, the Lunenburg Shipbuilding Alliance, and the community of Lunenburg. Thank you for your ongoing dedication and commitment to the Bluenose II. She's a fine ship, and I'm proud of what we're able to accomplish together. Lunenburgers, Nova Scotians, and visitors have all watched closely as the Bluenose II received her new hull. Today, people have traveled from all regions of Nova Scotia, Canada, and beyond to witness the relaunch. It's as true today as it was 90 years ago. Ships start here. And now, for the moment we've all been waiting for, we'll ask the Shipbuilders Alliance and their hard-working crew to continue sliding the Bluenose II back into the water, where she belongs. Thank you.
Thank you, Premier Dexter. There's no question that without your support and the generous support of your government, this day would never have been possible. So on behalf of the town of Lunenburg, please accept our sincere gratitude for enabling Bluenose II, Nova Scotia's sailing ambassador and a Canadian icon, to once again inspire pride of place in a new generation of Nova Scotians. She's a reminder to all of us of who we are, where we come from, and all that we can accomplish. This is one of those special moments in time that you will be able to say, I can remember when I was in the Lunenburg waterfront on the 29th of the month of September in the year 2012. I can remember some of the people that I saw and heard on that day. I can remember some old friends that I met along the way. I can remember I was there when Bluenose II was relaunched. And I would now like to use the words which were used in 1963 when Bluenose II was first launched. May God bless and protect this ship and all who sail in her.
You're watching the relaunch of the schooner Bluenose II here at the dockyards in Lunenburg on the south shore of Nova Scotia on the east coast of Canada. This is a historic and really important day for all of the people of Nova Scotia. Bluenose II is an icon and a symbol of this province and has been for a very, very long time. As you can see, Bluenose is, the cradle has been pulled away from the ship. It's afloat in the water. It is now officially relaunched. We've just heard from the Premier of the province, Darrell Dexter, and members of Canadian Parliament and some other local dignitaries, the Mayor of Lunenburg, Mr. Mawhinney, and a representative of the shipbuilders who built this beautiful Bluenose II. You can hear the Bridgewater Fire Department band playing, and it's a day of celebration as Bluenose II once again returns to the water. You can see them slowly untying the ropes that had the schooner attached to that cradle which carried it into the water. It appears the vessel is now officially afloat, and once the cradle is pulled away, it will be absolute. Schooner Bluenose is returning to the water after a complex project to renew and rejuvenate and rebuild the schooner by craftsmen here in the town of Lunenburg, shipbuilders who have been carrying on the shipbuilding tradition that has been around in Nova Scotia for many, many years. It's a beautiful sight. The rain is held back so far. It's a little overcast, but it's a very typical maritime day on the waterfront. Lots of people smiling and snapping pictures here today, watching the graceful lines of Bluenose II as she starts to bob a little bit there in the water. Obviously now officially buoyant, and a lot of people are here to mark this milestone in Nova Scotia history. It was 49 years ago, Bluenose II was officially launched. Today is the relaunch, 49 years later, and this spring when she begins her touring to promote the province and to train young sailors and to carry on her mission. This spring in 2013 will be the 50th anniversary of Bluenose II, which of course carries on the legacy and the history of original Bluenose, which was launched in 1921 under Captain Angus Walters, and many stories of victories, adventure, and drama at sea connected with Bluenose. And Bluenose II herself has had many stories in promoting the province, entertaining tourists, being part of festivities and celebrations, and really being a symbol of the pride of all Nova Scotians. You can see the workers working about just trying to get the rest of that cradle pulled away as the bow of Bluenose slowly rises and falls as if she's nodding to the crowd that, hey, everything's okay. It's a new life. A new year has begun for Bluenose II. There's the bowsprit with the scroll work on the front. In the old tradition, the very recognizable, oft photographed bow of Bluenose II. Lots of smaller vessels gathered in the harbor of Lunenburg here today, as you can see. People on fishing boats and small sailboats and private small yachts, and even I heard there was a kayak or two out there. Everyone wants to get close to be part of this moment in history. The mission of Bluenose is to continuously promote the history and legacy of Bluenose and Bluenose II, as well as the rich past and present of Lunenburg in Atlantic Canada. Another part of the mission is to teach and promote seamanship and life skills in young Canadians through the opportunity of serving on board Bluenose II. Their mission is also to operate Bluenose II in a safe and efficient manner so that all Canadians can be proud of her. And the third point of the mission statement of Bluenose II is to maintain and ensure that Bluenose II will serve as a sailing ambassador for Lunenburg, for the province of Nova Scotia, and for Canada. We are on the waterfront for the relaunch ceremony of Bluenose II here in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, on the south shore of Nova Scotia. And it's a historic day for all the crowd gathered here today. We heard from Premier Darrell Dexter and various other speakers. We hear some announcements now. More activities coming up.
Will be proceeding along the waterfront to the Fisheries Museum of the Atlantic, and will be berthed there dockside through the day. Wear clothing appropriate to the weather. Enjoy the afternoon and evening concerts. Enjoy the day fully. Appreciate the fact that we have a Canadian icon back in the water. She's back and she's beautiful. Thank you very much.
You've been watching a live webcast of the relaunch of Bluenose II here in the town of Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, on the east coast of Canada. A big ceremony on the waterfront as everyone is celebrating as this historic icon, the ambassador of Nova Scotia, returns to the water after a complete renewal and refit of the schooner. She's back in the water and now afloat once again. A large crowd here gathered, and everyone in Nova Scotia and anyone nearby is welcome to come down to Lunenburg for a day of music and celebrations, including a live outdoor concert on the waterfront in Lunenburg at 7:30 tonight. Come on down for the live concert of many cultural acts from around the Atlantic Canadian region. People like Tom Gallant and Lenny Gallant and Catherine McKinnon, various other singers, performers, and musicians. It's going to be a great time tonight. We invite everyone to come down as the music will continue, and it'll all culminate in a fireworks show over the harbor. So it should be a beautiful and memorable night here in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia.